1 year ago, my best friend Darren and I were hanging out on a Saturday afternoon. That mostly consisted of walking to the nearby high school to listen to music and just talking about the girls that we had classes with. Darren and I did this 90% of the time when we hung out, mostly because we love spending time outside instead of being indoors all the time. On this particular day, we were walking over to the football field to sit on the bleachers to gossip and whatnot, but as soon as we sat down, a white pickup truck with black tinted windows pulled up in the school's main parking lot, which you could see from the football field. Now I pay high attention to detail, so I noticed the truck sitting in the lot for at least 15 to 25 minutes before I pointed it out to Darren. The truck just sat there, still running, but the creepiest part is that I could feel the driver staring at us while we sat there listening to music. After about 2 more minutes of the truck sitting there, we started to walk back to Darren's house, which was about 2 blocks away from the school. So when we got back to Darren's house, we did a mix of goofing around with airsoft rifles and playing basketball. I'd like to take a moment to mention that me and Darren hung out a lot, and we never saw this white truck parked in or around the school, so it was pretty creepy to see a truck with tinted windows sitting in the parking lot with an engine running for at least half an hour. But imagine the horror on our 13-year-old faces when we saw the same white truck slowly driving down our street. Now this truck was going about 20 kilometers down the road, so it was super obvious that the driver was looking for something or someone. I shit you not, as soon as the truck went in front of Darren's house, it slowed down and parked right in front of the driveway and rolled down the window. What we saw were 2 people in the vehicle. One, the driver, was middle-aged with a disgustingly dirty beard and dirty gray hair, and the passenger was also middle-aged but was a woman with greasy black hair and was sporting what looked like a gray-stained shirt. We were both pretty scared at the sight of the 2, so we just decided it'd be better if we walked inside quickly. Once we got inside, we ran around the house, locking all the doors and closing all of the curtains. After around 15 minutes of playing Grand Theft Auto in silence, still pretty creeped out about what just happened, Darren piped up and said, Do you think they're still out there?" I shrugged my shoulders, as if to say, I don't know, and I don't want to know. Let's go check from my mom's bedroom window," Darren said nervously. His mom's bedroom was on the 3rd floor of the house, and if you looked out the window, you could see the road and the driveway. We both slowly walked up the stairs and into the bedroom, and opened the drapes up just enough to see out. We saw those 2 fuckers were still blocking off the driveway with the side of their truck. Suddenly, Darren backed away from the window and fell on the floor. "They got out of the truck and are walking to the front door with a garbage bag," Darren said, almost in tears, still on the floor. As soon as I heard that, I went into defensive mode, trying to save both me and my best friend from harm. I pushed his mom's little dresser in front of the door, so if they got in, they would have to push it over. As soon as I did this, Darren pulled a box from underneath the bed and opened it. "Here, take this. My mom told me to use this if anyone ever tries to break in." Darren handed me a knife, and he held a canister of pepper spray. We both took cover behind the bed, scared for our lives. We sat there for what felt like the longest 2 minutes of my life, until we heard the sound of 2 pairs of heavy boots walking up the stairs.
"Come out, boys. All we want to do is play. We ain't gonna hurt you one bit."
As soon as the sentence was finished, Darren whipped out his cell phone and dialed 911 and was speaking to the operator. What he basically told the operator was that 2 people had broken into his house and that they were stalking us for the last hour or so. The operator told us that they had sent officers out immediately and told Darren to stay on the line. The footsteps got closer and closer to the bedroom door. Then, it all went quiet. And out of nowhere, a loud bang came from the other side of the door, followed by struggling to open the door. The bookcase was slowly moving away from the door with every struggle to open it. Then, from somewhere downstairs, the female yells, "The police are here. We have to go now," followed by the sound of heavy boots walking down the stairs. About 5 minutes later, the police came into the house to talk to us about what had just happened. I'll spare you the details, but basically, the two had been known for attempted child abduction of boys between the ages of 10 and 14. We were told that the two had gotten into the house by busting the door's window and climbing through it. And the scariest part was what they had in the garbage bag. It was filled with zip ties, duct tape, handcuffs, and rope, with a very large carving knife. I don't remember how long they got sent to prison, but I'm very thankful for the police reacting so fast in time to save us. This was by far the scariest thing to ever happen in my life. I couldn't have been much older than 10 when this happened. I was sitting in my front room with my mom. She was reading to me, and I remember it was a Goosebumps book. Back then, I loved the spookier books, but they were just a bit above my reading age, so my mom would help out and read to me the more complicated sections. We were on the couch closest to the front door, and I can't recall the time, but it was definitely dark out. My dad has always worked nights, so he wouldn't have been home until much later. And it was definitely too late for visitors, so when we heard the knock on the door, it scared me, and pretty much just annoyed my mom. To be fair, we do have family members who do unsavory things, and on occasion came to our house for help. But as soon as my mom looked through the peephole, she told me to go to my room. Obviously, my mom filled me in on the rest of the story. What I remember is sitting in my room and then hearing police sirens. I wasn't naive, so I knew that this could not be good. And maybe I was brave or just worried for my mom, but I left my room and came out to my mom talking to a police officer. The front porch and door were covered in blood. Then, at the end of my driveway, was a man I recognized from the neighborhood. My mom then explained that she had opened the door with the deadbolt still on, making sure that the door didn't really open. The man asked her for help. He was bleeding and clearly on drugs. With my family being the way they were, we knew for a fact that he was caught up in the world of drugs and would constantly walk up around our neighborhood with shopping carts. He always seemed really friendly, but we never knew what kind of guy he actually was. The officer then told my mom that they were always being called because of this guy, and that if he ever gave us problems again, to call them. He lived pretty close by, and we would see him on occasion. But after that day, he never did anything like that again. But every time I saw him, all I could remember is the image of him being covered in blood at the end of my driveway, being put in the back of an ambulance. I'm older now, and he's moved out of the neighborhood some years ago, but from time to time, I still think of that image late at night. My name is Cody, and I'm 17 now, and this just happened last Tuesday. I like to ride my skateboard around the area I live. There's a little trail that cuts near the creek. I go to that spot every day just to chill with a friend or two. Normally I'm by myself, and this was one of those times. I was getting irritated with the typical girl drama, and my parents didn't have the best relationship, So I decided to leave my phone at home and escape everything. I went to the usual spot to clear my mind. It was about 4 a.m., and I would see the occasional hiker or bike rider. A few hours later, it was 8:36, when I decided to go to a local gas station to get some energy drinks and go to my friend's house. As I started walking back, I heard what appeared to be faint grunts and moans. At the time, I thought nothing of it. I assumed it was just some high schoolers smoking pot or something. It started getting a little rowdy. I finally get back to the trail, and I start to get a very eerie feeling that I was being watched. As I start walking up the trail, I see a man in a blue hoodie with athletic shorts running from behind me. I thought nothing of it because it was pretty common to see people going on a late-night jog. I had an old iPod with me, and I decided it'd be best if I listened to some music. I got a feeling in the pit of my stomach, though, to put my iPod away and just book it home. Then I feel someone touch me. I turn around, and the same guy I had seen about 20 minutes previously starts to try to make small talk with me. I didn't want to be rude or anything, so I talked to him. We had a normal conversation, and then something strange happened. He asked me,
I heard about you and your girlfriend. Are you alright?
I was kind of freaking out at this point. I responded with, "How the fuck did you know that?" He turned to me with the creepiest smile I'd ever seen and said,
Oh, Cody. I've known about you and Sarah for a very long time. I've seen you two walk through here, and I've seen you guys holding hands at your school.
So I said, "Get the fuck away from me." Knowing that some random-ass guy that I'd never seen in my entire life knew so much about me was extremely horrid. In an instant, I began to sprint faster than I ever had in my entire life. After about 2 minutes of straight sprinting for my life, I turned around, and he was gone. I thought about calling the police, but I didn't want them to get involved, and I knew that there was nothing that could have been done anyway. With that being said, I thought everything was starting to get back to normal, but I was dead wrong. Today I went over to my girlfriend's house, and we watched movies late into the night. I was ready to call it a night and go home. I grabbed my skateboard and just started heading there. Mind you, I only live a few blocks from her house. I got home and was getting ready for bed, but that's when I got a spine-chilling call from my girlfriend. "Babe, what's wrong?" I said. I could tell that she was in fear and panic. "There's something in the black car standing outside my house with a knife and a creepy smile. He's asking for you." At this point, I was pissed and scared at the same time. I forgot what had happened a few days ago until I got that call. It was around midnight, and I grabbed my hunting knife and my skateboard and raced to her house. As soon as I got there, I see her and 2 other men outside her house. What happened next will never leave my mind. I see the same fucking guy who had crept up on me the other night, except this time, he had a friend. They were both just sitting on the car, jerking off as they watched her peep through the window. I was ready for a bloody fight. I got off my board, and I threw it at the guys who were just sitting on the car, and I grabbed my knife. "Fuck you," I yelled in an angry voice as I ran towards them. They saw me with the knife in my hands and got into the car and sped off, almost hitting me. I went to my girlfriend to try and calm her down. I called the police soon after, and they asked me a few questions and then said that they would be on patrol in the area for them. Early this morning, I got a phone call. I really regret answering it. The man on the phone answered,
This isn't the last time you'll see me. One day that beautiful girl will be mine, and I will take her far away and treat her right. I can't even imagine what that sweet, tender pussy of hers feels like.
She got the same call soon after. Since then, nothing has happened, and I'm fearful something will. Today, When I went to check the mail, I got a small package from someone with no name on it. Inside the package were pictures of my girlfriend sleeping, her getting undressed, and a note saying,
"I'll be watching you now, handsome man. Meet me at the creek at dawn if you want a secret encounter."
I was tired of this shit, so I called the police and told them where this guy wanted to meet. They told me to go there, and that they would have a patrol of officers and a SWAT team of snipers watching me. Dawn was closing in, and everything was in position. I see the man standing on the trail, wearing a shirt that my girlfriend had lost long ago, and a stuffed bear that I had given to her that was lost as well. He approached me and said,
"Hey, sexy, ready to do this?"
As soon as he said that, officers rushed in and put cuffs on him. They told me that he was a repeat sex offender that had been charged with rape, sexual assault of a minor, and stalking. Apparently, this wasn't even the first time he had done this. I'm just glad that piece of shit is in jail, and I can feel safe again. As for the other guy that was with him the other night, the police are still searching for him. To give some background information, I was 14 at the time this took place, and I even remember the exact date this took place on. It was October 31st in 2014. Yes, it took place on Halloween, and it was my first year of not going trick-or-treating. I was in 9th grade at the time, and had been invited to a party, but decided it'd be best if I stayed home and watched horror movies instead. I was a very unsocial kid. To get to the point, my dad and his girlfriend went to a party hosted by one of my dad's co-workers, and since he knew I liked having the house to myself, he took my little sister with them. Later on, I decided to go to the park when kids were trick-or-treating, and to scare the crap out of them like the asshole I am. But as I arrived and positioned myself on a nearby swing, I noticed a very tall man. He was about 6 feet tall, glaring at me. I was very paranoid, yes, but I wasn't scared. I would always carry a pocket knife with me wherever I went, especially this night. When he wouldn't stop staring at me, I decided it'd be best if I just got up and walked in the same direction as him with my hoodie up so he couldn't see my face. But as soon as I walked past him, he followed me. I got so fed up with this that I turned around and yelled at the man to stop following me, with parents and their kids watching. The guy's eyes then gestured to my knife, and he began backing away. You might think that's it, but sadly, it didn't end there. I ran back home as fast as I could, since I was still paranoid that he probably followed me back. As soon as I ran inside, I locked every single door and window in the house. I then stupidly watched a couple of more horror movies like Silent Hill and The Conjuring. As the night went on, I got more and more exhausted, and eventually decided it'd be best if I went to bed. I passed out quickly, and as a deep sleeper, I usually don't wake up easily, but this night, I woke up from the sound of plates crashing. I just thought it was my little sister having one of her annual night terrors. But the thing was, my sister would usually break 1 or 2 plates, and that was always the average. Then, she would walk to my dad's bedroom and cry really loudly. I would always go upstairs to check on her since I'm her big sister. But something in me told me not to go. It just felt like it wasn't my sister. So I just chalked it up to it being my dad, since he is very clumsy and often breaks plates. I saw that it was 10 p.m., so I thought he had been back from the party. I ended up calling him since it was only 10 p.m., so I thought he had already gotten back from the party. He picked up after the first couple of rings, and at the time, the plate stopped crashing. I said to my dad from the other end of the phone, "Can you go back to bed, Dad? I'm super tired and I just want a bit of rest." There was silence on the other end, until I heard my dad laugh and say, "Lauren, I'm not even home yet, but we are pulling up." He then hung up. I was shocked. The footsteps upstairs had stopped, and my window was able to see the driveway where my dad had just parked in and was getting out. I stood in massive fear, not being able to breathe. Then suddenly, the doorknob started to shake. Luckily, the door was locked. Thank God my family got back in time. My guess is that the person left and went out the back door. To this day, no one has ever heard my story, but only one question has been in my mind for a couple of years now. How the hell did this person get in? I locked every door and window and turned every light off. There were no forced signs of entry, and my parents never left keys or anything under the mats or outside.